live today, but we will share it on our Facebook and
What is live stream?
that's so people can access it, the public, but also the press. Anybody who wasn't able to attend can also view the live stream. So, call to order. It's 6:06. Thank you all for making it to the Thompson Texas meeting. This is our second meeting since the establishment of the committee. I apologize in advance. There are a bunch of hyperlinks on this, and obviously you cannot put hyperlinks on a sheet of paper, but it was mainly to share some of the tech recommendations with our district manager and our community assistants. So we have some old business to go over. We were talking about streaming meetings at our last committee meeting, and obviously today we are streaming. And we also want to figure out how to stream in-person meetings as well. So in order to do that, we need to have the community board invest in equipment, and some of that equipment includes camera, tripod, which I've linked, some suggestions here, a wireless microphone. The wireless mics would be for the people in the crowd. We already have, we would need about 4 mics in order to provide those mics to the people in the front, like the committee members in the front, as well as the chairperson. Because we're not always going to be at Lincoln Hospital, we need to have this equipment on hand. Sometimes we'll have these meetings in other places, and we're looking to see what those places can be. So we need our own equipment, and we need to be able to bring that equipment as well as a speaker in order to amplify what's being said in the meetings. And a Zoom Pro account is something else that I would like to have some of these meetings be virtual at any given point. Something that came up that's not in the agenda is requesting an IT assistant for this committee. So that person would be hopefully who can help out with some of the tech setup. So setting up the camera during live streams, during the meetings, helping out with projections during the meetings, things of that nature, need somebody to help out with that. Any questions on streaming?
So, Madam Chair, if I may, this is FYI for folks who are, this may be their first meeting under the borough president's on the application. There was, I believe, a release of some kind, and we're working on photos and live streaming, and again, with this committee's chairs, this is to ensure that the general public has ability to be able to do the overviews or to be able to continue to see our work in progress. And so part of the mission of this committee, so I want to thank the chair for the preliminary research that she's done to, and this, I'm assuming the hyperlink will email the folks so they can click on actually looking at this, to ensuring that we're open government, and that we're easily, the people can feel engaged with the community board, because this is the, like I mentioned to all of you guys individually, or I would you that this is the opportunity where our board has become grassroots and energized and progressive in our work. And so I think this committee as a whole, and chair for making sure that reach that goal as part of the of this committee. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, yes.
I have a quick question about the equipment that you surveyed. Did it mention anywhere durability? That's what's important, and that's obviously some to make sure that longevity. Something to be done, then it's not conducive to it.
Right. Yeah, I would say the Canon EOS Rebel cameras and the Panasonic Lumix, they're very durable cameras. I could look into the exact limitations, and we have some also with cameras. Here, Leslie, I don't know if anybody else on the board has also experience. Wonderful. Yes.
Yeah.
All this stuff.
Worry about hey, the camera needs to start.
Yeah.
There you go, right, camera.
I was also considering, price point, and these are probably within a good price point right now, because the one that I have is a little more expensive, and other cameras are a little more expensive, it won't be reasonable with the price. And I don't know what our budget is. It would be important to find out what the budget is tech needs in the committee, in the community board, in order to look maybe at other potential, equipment.
So, Madam Chair, we can ask, so, we have an ability, we, of course, the community board has a separate budget for operations, and rent and so on. We can always reach out to our local city council members that once we have, the price points for each of these, the points, the prices for these things, to ask for them to fund that and, ability to open again and to live stream our meetings. So this is something that, definitely research with our local elected officials, we like to see where possible, like, available for that.
And at this moment.
Doesn't mean to be generous with,
Yeah.
with the equipment, but again, just to push that emphasis to say that they would like this element to then the community boards work to open, since they help to appoint members, that they will also wanna likely put a couple dollars on the, to this initiative.
And with that being said too, would you need this committee and myself to create like an inventory list, like how much it costs, the name of the product, because here I just like the names, but I didn't put the cost.
Cost and also this initiative of what we're looking at doing, so we can use a little bit of the community's description, plus they're like, this is what we're looking at doing, and reasons why, so that these meetings, of course, where either their representatives or themselves will be live streams is a way to help make that happen, so we definitely, yeah, if we can put together in the coming weeks, a whole scope of this equipment's gonna be used to be able to accomplish this, and I think the next question I wanna ask though with this, how easy is this equipment being able to be transferable to as we move around the district? You know, is it lightweight or is it like?
Yeah, the cameras are generally lightweight. What is a little more difficult to move around, is the system, probably the PA system.
Okay, the amps and the mics.
Yeah, the amps and the mics. But they're not heavy and they have wheels, but in the event that there's snow and things like that. it's a-
Early setup, right?
Yeah. So in terms of like the cameras, all of these cameras come with like the camera bag. They come with an SD card, they come with the camera, they come with the lens. So all of that is already in that one package. And the tripod comes with the carry bag. And the tripod is not.
So the mics are wireless, the speaker is Bluetooth and the amp is used to
That amp is also the speaker.
speak into speakers. This is, I guess I'm not getting a vision when we, because I think speaker that stands up and it could be, okay. got it.
Yeah, and it's one of the ones that you can borrow. I was also thinking of like, we would need to invest in a speaker. We're thinking about hosting events for the board, like the chair, Alaya Doshi mentioned, having, events that we plan in the board. So in order to do that, we need to have a good PA system to amplify what we're seeing outside, especially with school. That's not just for meetings that are happening here, but also for meetings that are happening. So that's it. So,
Sure.
anything else about the implementation? All right, so we're gonna move forward with Link NYC. Is there an update on Link NYC where we were reach out to?
So we reached out to OTI with more feedback about how we can publicly be able to add to the kiosks around there. There are 7 throughout our district that we can likely work with. So so folks see those kiosks that are all around the community. We have one, I think, right outside here in front, and the recommendation of this committee was to be able to publicize our meetings and the calendar and so on and different events. So then we're looking to turn back and even back to us. There may be a cost associated with it, but we're trying to get it. This is we are another city agency to likely waive that cost, but we have to look into what that looks like. So I'll have more by the general board or the next committee.
Okay, thank you for that update. Just to share with the committee members, yes, Link NYC came up at the last board meeting. I had noticed that other community boards utilize Link NYC in Manhattan and other boroughs to amplify, that they're having an upcoming event or they're having an upcoming meeting. They invite folks to sign up. They put their information, their website, a QR code for social media, all that good stuff. So I feel like we can really utilize that same resource to amplify what's happening here. Just a little background. Any questions on Live NYC? And if you have any other ideas of how we can continuously amplify what's happening, feel free to share it. For social media, as we shared in the last committee meeting, we have active Facebook, we have an active Twitter, an active Instagram, an active YouTube, which we're using right now. All of these social media accounts currently are being managed by myself and one other committee member who's not here at the moment. Her name is Alyssa. Alyssa has been helping me create flyers that we can share on the social media pages, as well as update, our social media pages. Now, people have started reaching out through our social media, like we've gotten DMs on social media, we've gotten comments, and I've been trying to be on top of them, like responding. It hasn't been a huge flux of people, but just putting it out there that we have, an opening for any committee members to sign up to help out with social media outreach and posting and making sure that we keep things updated, because again, we're all volunteers, so it can be, quite the task to be like one of two people managing a community board account. And now, more than ever, this community board is holding a lot of events, including our Saturday food pantry distributions, and which is wonderful, and other events, but with those events comes a lot of content, right? So we have to create reels, we have to create flyers, we have to create posts to keep people engaged and inform people that this is happening. And currently we are doing that in English and Spanish. Trying to figure out what other incorporate into French.
I would say French, and then, okay, I'm gonna be, this Friday is our immigration committee, and that's where we're gonna be linking up with the technology committee, because I know that Mohammed expressed, the Bangladesh community. There's a large percentage of them right in our district, which I myself didn't know. So I think, like you said, we have the Creole, the French, of course, the Hispanic population, and then the Bangladesh or even Middle Eastern population are here too. So that's where, and I'm gonna bring back that information, and me and Mohammed from the immigration committee this Friday are gonna be getting that info together, and I probably will give that to you. And because you're absolutely right, I think it would be good to at least have it, even when we do social media or even the newsletter, which is next on the agenda, to do it, they have like one side in English, the other side at least like in Spanish. And I think that makes a lot of people start to understand and know that we speak. So I'm gonna myself be on top of that, and I will bring you back that info. Okay?
Thank you,
From the
Archie.
immigration committee. Great, Grace. I think they're welcome.
Yes, and any way that we can all collaborate between committees is great as well. Like, the other day I received an email from Stephen, I think it was, that was forwarded from Mohammed. And he was sharing a Ramadan message, right? So wanna make sure that we share that Ramadan message with our community through social media and online as well, because we have a huge population. Yes, absolutely. So yes, so French, Bengali, Arabic language should be included. We can definitely look into that and to other languages. And how we can also collaborate to make sure that, we don't wanna just rely on Google Translate, we wanna rely on people that actually speak the language to help us translate this content. Any questions about social media? Yes, yes.
So just a background, but I was a social media correspondent for Visual Artists for the last 3 years. Now I work at First Neighborhoods, and I will also be doing social media, which is why this committee interested me. So I just wanna know, how are you guys managing, sharing stuff? I know, I saw you, I can tell when it's Canva, so how are you, is it like a Canva Pro account that you guys have? Is it a shared Canva Pro? Do you guys have a team where people can collaborate and create flyers to help you guys out who are posting? Also on the Instagram side, are you scheduling posts as well as they go? 'Cause sometimes Instagram lets you do it and then it could go while you're sleeping, so I don't know how your system is, so I would like to know.
Thank you, these are great questions.
Yeah.
Firstly, yes, thank you for raising the Canva Pro. We don't have a Canva Pro. Is that something that we can invest in? Please. Currently, we are just using my general Canva account, and it's not Pro. So would love support there. Thank you for that. in terms of scheduling posts, we're currently not scheduling posts, we're just posting at the moment. Scheduling would be very helpful. I don't have experience with scheduling posts, I normally just post like live on my personal page, but if you have any knowledge you can share, like apps that we can use to schedule posts, or you just have this through Instagram.
Luckily, Instagram finally upgraded themselves and you can schedule posts like on the app. And while you're drafting the post, you can hit advanced settings and then it will give you the option of scheduling the post. So while you're sleeping or like doing other
Okay.
things, it will post immediately and it doesn't miss a beat. I will just say like, because I've been in situations where other people have control of the account, like just make sure no one's like double booking, like, oh, I scheduled this and this at the same time, because then it gets weird on the algorithm.
Yeah.
Canva Pro is great. I think that's awesome, but also as an artist, I feel like it's a great opportunity to give artists a chance to, to like use their skills to promote something. Like someone maybe has a painting of Ramadan or whatever the case may be, put it up, tag them as well. Or whatever, there's a lot of Procreate artists that use like their iPads to draw and stuff. That could be a pretty easy thing to do. And in terms of scheduling on other platforms I'm not too familiar with, I know on TikTok and stuff you can't yet, but that would have to be like,
If you don't mind.
yeah, sure.
So there are different apps that allow you to schedule on TikTok or different platforms. However, Instagram and Facebook are pretty much one. So I'm assuming you had mentioned that you guys have a Facebook account. So the Instagram is linked to the Facebook,
Yeah.
right? So that allows you to seamlessly automate your scheduling through Facebook. So this is Business Suite, and if you have some time, you can like coordinate some time during the week and I can guide you through that process. But it allows you to pretty much schedule your posts like months in
Yeah.
advance.
Yeah, you can do it far in advance.
Or
I need you to help me.
so
So help us with that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
there are other apps like Buffer,
Yeah, Hootsuite is the big
Hootsuite
one.
that allows you to schedule on TikTok, but however, TikTok is not really a platform yet that is known to schedule things in advance. So they are limited on the sites, but there are sites that allow you to schedule multiple platforms, like including YouTube at the same time.
Yeah,
That's good to
yeah.
know.
Yeah, the only thing about those apps is they're super cute. But
Yeah.
if it's something that you guys could do, that'd be great. And then in terms of also from experience, I hope you're not also holding the content in your phone or your personal devices. Like as in like recording and then saving them, like they should be in a community board like device. Just out of
Okay,
experience.
it's right now it's on a Google Drive
Okay,
folder.
yeah,
Because it's hard to manage, like if I get a bunch of emails from different people,
yeah.
I just want people to put it in one central place, put it into the Google Drive, make a folder. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm making a folder titling what the event is and the date, and then they throw things in there, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes they don't throw things directly in the folder, they'll throw things outside of it and I have to organize it. But,
Yeah.
it's no shade, no shade. But I think it's important to definitely have some type of organization with
Yeah.
with the file share.
yeah, like for archival purposes, you definitely want to do a system where all the content is effective.
Now, the more apps and plugins we add, the more we need people to help manage this,
Right.
right? Because we can share all this great, these great resources, but we don't have enough people helping. So, I also don't want to speak for Alyssa because I feel like she knows a lot of this stuff too. She currently manages the Bronx River Alliance social media page, I believe. She also sends out newsletters, so she's a wealth of knowledge as well. I just haven't knowledge with this type of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really helpful. Thank you both for sharing that, and I took note of it. I think we should definitely go over that. Currently, I'm having trouble also, maybe we can talk about it after this meeting. I'm having trouble with the connection between Instagram and Facebook because it's a Facebook page and not a Facebook like profile.
So is the community board of business account?
Yes.
Yeah, so it should be an easy conversion all you have to do is, you can even do it through the Instagram, you can create a Facebook page. The only thing is, actually, we can even try to link it, if it's already created, we should try to link it. Okay, now that it's hard to create. Facebook.
Okay, so let's definitely connect right after this, so that we can move.
And also
Yeah.
another question, and maybe this is, I know everything is new right now, but I don't know, I think when people have a platform to comment on and have like access, like how are we managing like hateful stuff?
You can actually do that in advance. So there's actually keywords that you can block
Oh,
in the
like
comments.
filters.
So like if people try to say, or I hate this or whatever, like curse words, you can block it in the comments or filter so that even if they try, it just won't let them like post it. So that is a feature that Instagram has. A lot of
Okay. That is one of that as well, so that. And yeah, I mean, there's also people that just like generally just would criticize and wanna give them, you know,
The platform.
The platform to, I mean, this is a community for, you know, it's a community board for everyone. So we're not gonna agree on that. Sometimes people are gonna have comments that are not tasteful, right? But we also don't wanna like silence everyone, but we wanna be careful with the person.
I would say like disrespect, you know, like
Yeah.
I agree, I think
Like,
we shouldn't, like, just because somebody doesn't pieces, they should have the voice in the space to voice that, right? Because we
Yeah.
could learn something, like, oh, maybe we should take this into consideration. But I'm like, certain words, we can block out,
Yeah.
like, certain languages, is what I'm saying.
yeah, absolutely.
It's that, again,
Spam is the big one.
Going back to what you also suggested, Leslie, you said customizing illustrations by artists. Like, are you talking about local community artists who can create?
Yeah, it could be, or like, you know, if you ever have like an event with kids that are there making stuff, like, you know, you could ask the parent, like, whatever the case may be. So I think if, especially like with Kid Boys, they do that a lot for free, so I don't know why they would charge CB1 for any advertisement, but they do advertise a lot of artists.
Do we need copyright, like, you need to sign waivers when you use stuff like that, if it's like this way?
I mean, you could, but not necessarily unless there's money involved, but, you know. Also, if like, I imagine like words going over it too, like, oh, this event, you know, and as long as it changes 25%, then it's fair use.
Alrighty.
So I'm gonna move the agenda onto the newsletter. I don't have an update on the newsletter yet because Alyssa was gonna update us with the newsletter tonight, so I'll check in with her and get back to folks. But what Alyssa was doing was, basically a draft of the newsletter that can go out to the community board. And also connecting to, I forgot the newsletter platform. Was it Munchie? MailChimp, I always say Munchie. Munchie. Is it Chimp? Yeah. I was saying Mail Monkey. Yeah, she was giving us an update on MailChimp and how we can utilize MailChimp to submit newsletters. Because we have so much going on, we wanna make sure that we send these newsletters up to the community. So hopefully we can start doing that by the next meeting, but we'll have an update for the committee for the next meeting on that. And I'll reach out to Alyssa to get that off for us.
I wanted to add one thing,
Yes.
Madam Chair, to that, you know, we've already started the process of all of our events where we are developing, I guess, subscription lists, emails of people that we interact with, we're doing. People who want to stay in contact with, so that we can build that base. So we did it out for distribution, we're gonna work to do that at everything that's possible that people can, you know, or always begin to stay engaged. And then I guess on MailChimp too, that allows people to subscribe and unsubscribe at their
Yes.
leisure, right?
Yeah.
So then that's it. It's not so, they'll sign you up and then if you don't wanna be on it, sign yourself out. Yeah.
But that's good to know that we're collecting like information and people are interested in staying in touch with the habits or having distributions and other events. And And we can, I don't know if we do the same at general board meetings when,
The general board meeting, there is a guest list that we're going to send to be able to what general public or part of different like elected officials and so on. So yes, there is it. We can provide on sign in. Would you like more information about the thing we're doing? They can check that or maybe we'll just put it as a header. Adding your email will be this, and again, subscribe and subscribe. Sure, so let's do, that, make sure that we add that to our sign up sheet.
yes. And once we have the newsletter like set up, we can post it obviously on social media and the website. All like, sign up for our newsletter, this is the link, and we'll make it easy for people to access it, to sign up. So anything on the newsletter, any question?
Do we know what type of content that we want, that I don't know, this portion
Yeah, we
discuss
should
as we go forward?
Yeah, we should actually talk about that on this committee. What type of content should we feature on the newsletter? Besides like upcoming events, right? Do this newsletter, I don't know if we're maybe trying to do it monthly or bi-weekly, I'm not sure. But I'm open to hearing the ideas of this committee. So we'd like to post the general board meeting information, the calendar, events that are coming up, anything else that y'all would suggest?
I'm researching the whether or not ethically we can be able to advertise on it at all, whether or not there's any financial gain or not, advertising freely, and also check with associations with businesses. It's always that thing when you give a it's about mom and pop business we love to give a shout out to, but sometimes you always have to always be concerned about whatever else. Not saying that mom and pop businesses are having needs to be some things, but I'm switching with our conflict of interest whether or not we can add, we have newsletter, we're gonna add a mom and pop business in the neighborhood about it, whether or not that has implications because people go over, so I found out about a mom and pop business, but it's some more stuff. Catering to that. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we want to support businesses, especially in our district as much as possible. But I'll find back out more and report this community next month what the conflict of interest law is or rule is about that issue. And as the committee has other recommendations that we want to shy away from or get into. I don't know.
That came up in the last committee meeting, I think a committee member raised, can we advertise on the newsletter? Like local businesses, so thank you for looking into that. Stand by to hear about any possible conflict of interest or implications, but yeah, open to any other ideas.
I think, yeah, to elaborate on that, we spoke about that before, but even like some of the non-profit organizations would probably like, because they publish newsletters too. See, so they would probably love to have, CV1, especially the ones that are, they're like Los Quedados. They have a newsletter, and they would love to, probably at the end of their letter, they like to sometimes put different organizations. And obviously CV1, they like to put a little thing there, even some of the, like you said, mom and pop businesses, when they do their advertising, like to show, I'm sure they would. So I think that's actually a very good idea.
If I may, Madam Chair, I want to add one more thing. I'd like to also should highlight things that are going on in the district. For example, when a community garden is doing, starting the harvest on planting season, special stories or spotlights on different things. That I'm always interested in and put a little competition with business. I'm not part of everything, but I just always thought about trying to highlight also success, great stories or public interest stories that they call, right?
Yeah, I think it's nice to personalize the newsletter, like it can't just be like information, it can also be like
Right.
stories and things that uplift and show the character of our community and the people that are making things happen here, so I love that idea. And it's also like sourcing the stories, like who's going out there and speaking to the folks and getting their story, maybe taking a picture of them and featuring it in the newsletter as like, I don't know, featured person of the week or featured person of the month in the newsletter. Yeah, I love that idea. But if y'all have, I know we put in the pressure, like, come up with an idea. It's not like, it doesn't have to happen right now. It could be later on, whatever ideas you come up with, you can bring it to this committee and we can, talk about it. But I love events, general board meetings, the calendar being featured in here, potential spotlights and success stories. It's all beautiful. It's something that's very necessary for us to put the community board out there. And maybe we can also highlight some community board members, sometimes in the newsletter, but also the website will have that. We don't wanna overpack the newsletter. We also have the website.
Which in that case, it means that, all these things are being considered and having thought here. Personal, like, people. Besides the one night. So it's not just like jam, both working to one.
And I know, yeah, that's a good point.
It's obviously more tasking because it's gonna be, if it does become a week. But within a 5 minute, right, we divide it into events, everything that's happening, like spotlighting businesses and, members.
And I know we have a relationship, that recently reestablished with the Third Avenue bid. So we can probably partner with them, like to highlight emphasis here too, if that's something that we want to do.
Yeah, I remember, the third Avenue person, Mr. Suarez, he was speaker.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be happy to do that. Because it's his house issue.
Yeah.
So I think you welcome that.
Yeah, and they've established relationships with the small business owners and people in the community, so we can leverage that relationship that they've already had, we can also connect with the folks that they know and have known for a while. Straight. So that's just an idea. Okay, so moving on from the newsletter to CB1 website, Stephen and Anthony have some news to share on that.
So yes, so regards to the website, spoke to TI, and basically they gave us free reign. We said, the Office of Technology and Innovation. They basically gave us free reign to the committee and by extension, the board wanted to create a website outside of the mayor's community affairs unit, which is currently the agency that maintains the website. They said we can go out of those, away from that, away from NYC.gov. Or they also offered an alternative that they can create the website for us, but then they'll give us admin rights and or we help consumer funds updates.
So may I add, Madam Chair? So for those who are not familiar, the city has this very, what my colleagues said is that the city has a very generic, when I say generic, community board after community board has very similar websites, webpage for each of the community boards. And it's easily found on the nyc.gov /CB something or other. And it provides hyperlinks to certain things that are very generic or duplicate things that all the community boards have. And this committee was charged with, and from Chairperson Aliato's charge when this committee was created, is to create an innovative website that is doing talking about amazing things that's happening. So it's like a kind of an extension of our newsletter, and also it has hyperlinks to all our YouTube live streaming and all the things that are happening. So Chairperson Lopez has again charged the staff to be able to likely reach out to see whether we can use our own hybrid domain platform. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Or which and host, and which will be regularly managed and updated by us, but then it's but we always find out that security and other issues have always come issue with, doing that with where, and fortunately, people who manage that organizations have probably experienced that. If you don't have a constant IT department or system administrator, it's watching on an ongoing basis, is to keep that stuff out. And so, and then we have the option, like my colleague mentioned, of on webpage, that we wanna be, unique, like I say, different, and our way of making sure that our webpage is doing, and speaking about these things that happen. So we're, excited to report back to this committee about that possibilities and to make a decision, along with the full board on where we go. We're here.
That's amazing news. Really happy to hear that. Yeah.
But to answer your question, you asked about posts and any restrictions, there's no restrictions. on posts. If we code about the website from scratch, basically free reign, one.
Got it. That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Currently I do have experience with website creation from the city to make us like a template and then we can work from it. Like we can customize everything.
Finalize it. Said that once website that if anyone goes to see it in the website, they'll automatically link us to the website. It'll be automatic,
Yeah, that's really. So they can purchase and all of that for us, so. Okay. Yeah, that's no problem. If they can create the template, unless the committee feels differently, so then we should assume that that's gonna be.
decision, what about, we can update it. Procedure.
Okay, so, committee members, creation of the website, only CAU creating it for community board one, and then giving us the administrative, reign to basically customize it. Oh, we don't, we need more people here. Okay,
Sorry.
So what I'm telling you, suggestion on that is, I was gonna vote yes anyways, because as long as we have the administrative level and whatever, let them go ahead and create it. And you get some great ideas from that also from them, and then we can just adjust it. Oh,
yeah,
so my vote is already yes, but I don't, yeah.
yeah, we can bring it to the full board.
We'll bring-
Yeah, yeah.
mhm,
And
that
I
would
feel
be-
like,
Sorry, is the document available?
not yet, so because we just heard from CAU and they just said, you know, we can do it, we haven't been able to do anything until we have this update. I don't know what Squarespace or,
No, I'm saying like the domain,
so,
like,
the link, sorry, yeah. I think BronxCV1.com, that's where that work.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also good to see what's available, right? Because it's really based off of that.
Code that. I think Bronx CV1, if it's available, we should go with that just because it'll be conform with the rest of the social media. So it's easy for people to just like find that. Like that's a good question, I'll look that up. And, so I wonder, all like taking this to vote will just delay the process.
I understand. I mean, we can come with a, say that this needs to come out, anything that come out has to come out, has to go before the full board anyway. So, but I like the, I understand that you want, but it's like an April project,
Yes. Yes.
urgency, right?
Yeah, how do folks feel here on the committee? About just bringing this to the board and saying, this committee decided that we would like CAU to make this website for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as possible. Yeah. So, yes, that's how we want to move forward. Thank you. Also BronxCV1.org is available, which is wonderful. It's $9.99 first year.
That's how to get you now.
Yeah. It is. How about the second year, the third year? This is like indefinite. Okay, so wonderful.
Is it also tied, Madam Chair, to,
The email?
no, to, so I know there's something that you Norton or either something, the security,
So I believe when you purchase the domain, you can also purchase security.
security.
Yeah.
$5.
We can
Create
create
a spreadsheet with all the
the cost.
expenses.
I'll make that.
Looking for this.
Any questions? Suggestions? Okay, we're moving on to the next item, the lengthy agenda, interpretation services. So at the last committee meeting, we suggested as a committee that interpretation be provided in 4 board meetings. Spanish, French, the languages that you just mentioned, RG, are among some of the languages that we, proposed, but we can also connect with Mohammed and the Immigration Committee, and since you're a committee member there, maybe they can also assist with what other languages.
I'll bring it up, and actually, we're gonna have our meeting this Friday, and that will be something that we're gonna link in with this committee. And we'll be working hand in hand with you on that, and definitely very necessary. I remember last year, there was actually a group from Bangladesh that came to our general meeting, board meeting, and I think they needed some translation. So but at least to start with, I would suggest Spanish, because and I'm already seeing it at our board, we actually have a good population of the community from the Hispanic background who have been coming. So I think to start with, that would be one, but then like we just finished mentioning previously here, I think French, there's a Creole group of people here in this district, and Mohammed and I will work hand in hand with that, to try to facilitate that, and I'm glad that this technology really is bringing that, very important.
What we had to look into is some of the devices that are used for interpretation. I know that there was a worker cooperative called Caracol, who provided interpretation services in various languages, and they would bring their equipment to, any event that needed interpretation services. So it's basically like an over-the-ear thing that, the public can just put on and listen to what language they need. And the interpreter would be sitting at the back side of the room, providing that interpretation live. Were we able to look into interpretation?
So I did one with my colleagues from District 7, which I understood that all of our district has multiple language interpretations that happen, and I'm waiting for a price to come back. I don't know if you will look at the one you're talking about also has a associated cost.
Yes, I can look into that. And I'm not sure, I want to say that they're still in existence, but I'm not sure if they are. But I do have another cooperative in mind that just needs to come in, and I can bring the cost over to the committee and also to you. But it would be great. We also had, people are starting to reach out through social media now that they see we're active there, and they're asking questions there that are very important. One person asked, do you provide Spanish interpretation at your meetings? And the answer was no at the moment, and we would love to, so that we're not missing that part of the community who doesn't understand English or doesn't speak it, so sometimes people will come in and they'll scope out to see, is anybody speaking Spanish here? Then maybe they'll leave and they'll miss out on some important dialogue and the opportunity to participate in this democratic process. So yeah, this is super important for us, and I think it's a priority. So, and if anybody has any resources or ideas that you can share, please feel free to raise it here. So press guidelines, something we talked about at the last committee meeting. Now that we are opening our meetings to the public, that also means that it's open to the press, and the press can attend. One press member attended our former committee meeting last month, and they took notes and they wrote a story on the Comms and Tech Committee, because we're looking to do some progressive things here at this board. So it's an exciting time, and a lot of press wants to finally get access to Community Board 1, and we are open to that, but it's also important to follow a set of guidelines and to ensure that our board members are well prepared and equipped to speak to the press, when the time does arise. But also ensuring that we appoint as a board, members of the board can speak to the press, we don't want everybody to be a representative of Community Board One. You should be prepared and you should know what to say on behalf of the board. So the suggestion that I have some press guidelines that I can share with this committee that we can review together. I'm still typing them up, but so far it's just highlighting press inquiries, what the procedure is for press inquiries. As of now, press inquiries must be forwarded to the Bronx, Community Board One chairperson, which is me. It already happened. We have several press inquiries from the Manhattan Herald and, Anthony, Jordan, and Stephen, have been forwarding them to me. I review what the questions are from the press. I ask the board chairs to share, or Stephen to share meeting minutes from the specific meeting where, whatever the question at hand is coming from, I wanna refer back to the meeting minutes to get exactly what happened. So for instance, there was a chemical spill in Melrose last year, right? And the Montgomery Herald came back to ask about what updates happened at the Environmental Justice Committee, right? And why they voted for or against anything, whatever, right? So I wanna make sure that I get the exact meeting minutes of what happened there because I wasn't present at that. But I wanna be able to provide an answer to the press so that they know exactly what happened. So what I did was I went over the minutes and I put on official letterhead the response to the board, to the member of the press. And I submitted that answer to them with all the answers to their questions. They also requested a copy of the letter of support from the committee. I think we're still waiting for that. But as soon as I receive that, I'll send that over to the member of the press. But I think we should have like a window in the board for like response time for these type of things. And that means a window for drafting a letter of support as well, so that we can make sure that they know that we have an open line of communication with them. And we're answering their questions. So right now, that's the procedure. Any type of press inquiries should go straight to this committee, the chairperson of the committee. And of course, I'm tapping in with the committee chairs in order to get the correct answers from them, right? Besides reviewing the minutes, I also spoke to the committee chair about what happened, in person, so that more context and background, he or she, or they, or them. And also, I wanna figure out how, to appoint press speakers from the board. Right now, the suggestion that I wrote down, I would love to hear from folks here, is that each committee appoints at least 1 to 2 members from each committee who can be authorized to speak with the press. So, for instance, if there's a municipal, the municipal services committee is holding a meeting or a rally at, let's say, St. Mary's, right, for the recreation center to reopen. We want the committee member from there to be able to speak to the press. So it doesn't all just fall on one person, like the chairperson of community of tech and comms shouldn't be handling all press inquiries in person for events like that. So we wanna make sure that the people that are most knowledgeable speak to the press about whatever the issue is. So currently, that's the request, that each committee appoints at least 1 to 2 members of the committee to speak to the press. Do we have any thoughts about that, or, worries or concerns or ideas?
I think if I may add,
Yes.
is that should ensure that there are certain high points that so that that the person is chosen from that committee to speak on behalf of press-related issues. It's always touching. I think that we should make sure the district manager is also available with in those interactions with the press, just to ensure that that we're in sync with the leadership of the board, but also in sync with again, making sure that we stay at the high points of those events and so on. I think that Brittany's, also communication, like we said, should still be able to make sure that it still comes to this committee too, so maybe to this committee to decide, okay, you're planning an event, and these are the high points of the stuff, make sure you touch with it. I think also, as part of the reason why the letter of support is, may take some time outside the response time, is that it would require that when requests come in for letters of support, that, requestees are drafting, context for us to approve the support, because having a clear, concise understanding of the issue, is important in drafting, so that you are not speaking from a place of that is intelligent or knowledgeable about the issue, especially like this issue that came up with the this environmental issue. It goes back to some years, to 1950s to 1960s, which is before my time. But I say that only because I want to make sure that we get it right.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing about support was the get it wrong for whatever reasons, and that becomes a story versus it. Sense?
Of course, and a follow-up question on that, so how often, I mean, how far in advance do presenters know to provide a letter of support?
It is provided as part of your as part of the request of the presentation. If will the presenter ask for a letter of support, and then when they usually say yes, would like a letter of support, then reach back out to them and say, please draft the language that likely, because the committee has to agree, and if you want to get the language of support, language on the as what you see the screen so people understand resolutions or letter of supports, and that we all are in agreement, so I'm not operating outside of the scope of this committee or the full board. And my language does it make sense?
Yes.
So yes, right.
I think I can add to that maybe in the form itself, we should add a line right after. If they circle letter support needed, if they circle yes, we add a subline. If yes, please send draft letter support.
Prior to coming in person to speak.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because so the procedure is that if someone's interested in speaking at the committee meeting, we send them this form. Apply to email, you're here, we give them the form, and they have to fill it out, it's the reasoning, what are they presenting, check off if we have a PowerPoint presentation, if they need a support, and such criteria. They already preemptively fill that out before they get to it. That's how we normally get PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, maybe adding that line would be helpful.
Yeah.
Yep, so request form is a fillable, yes, okay, so you will add that, but it's a fillable
It's a full PDF.
PDF form. Then it sends them, so immediately once that's how we all know who's coming to our committee.
That's our
So-
procedure. Immediately someone inquires, we send them. And then the chairperson reviews it.
Before they even come.
Yeah.
So we can add, say, we can get approval that, to provide that language, with the document in the future. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Of course, and I also appreciate the raising of the DM of you being available for the interviews as well, and I think it's important, maybe I can ask for support, Anthony, when it comes to like press coming up to anyone, they should probably go to you first, just to tell you like what the questions they're gonna ask are, so that you can then turn to the person that they should speak to, or probably direct them to
Sure.
the proper person to speak to. And also like pre-prep them, like, hey, these are the questions they're gonna ask, and there are some questions that we may not be able to answer, right? So you can tell the press, actually, we can't speak on that. If there's ever any like conflict of interest with an elected official or something else that's happening, that we can't provide the information on.
Understood.
So I understand there are some things that are sensitive, in different committees as well, but we shouldn't just be sharing everything, right? As transparent as we wanna be. So, all right, it's 7:00, I wanna be mindful of people's time, so we're gonna go through this new business. I feel like a lot of these things came up already though, during our initial conversation, so Canva Pro already came up naturally, thank you for raising that. Tech support during meetings, that already came up as well, and the solution for that would be identifying an IT assistant, which came up earlier before this meeting, so that's pretty much done. Events that are coming up, I feel like, one that we're hearing about is possibly, well, we have the St. Mary's Recreation Center issue. And the issue with that, if anybody here is not familiar, is that St. Mary's Recreation Center is still in construction, and potential final date for that construction to be completed is spring 2025. And that's in air quotes because we're not sure, right? We spoke about this during the municipal committee meeting. And so Chairperson Clarissa Alagueto mentioned maybe we should all, plan an event around this issue. Invite our community to, speak about this issue and share with them that, did you know that this is not gonna be ready until spring 2025? So what does an event like that look like? I feel like comms is a big, factor in that, like Anthony shared, maybe we should come up with high points for events like this, like basically highlighting like what is why are we here? Why are we rallying here? How do we want the community to get involved? How are we also flyering and sharing this information? How are we posting about it on social media? There's already a Canva flyer, based on, like, we're just following the format that we use for the, because, just to rewind a little bit, I'm sorry. We have the Bronx Borough Parks Chair, Commissioner, attending our next general board meeting. And there, we're gonna have
Invited.
Oh, she was invited. Oh, okay. Steven, you told me, this is a communications thing right here. You told me that she confirmed.
She confirmed, but we verifying.
I see. Okay, so that was missing in our
Yeah, so in
communications.
the municipal services, we were debating whether we had heard if it was gonna be a community or general public.
Okay. So right now, the flyer reflects that she will be at the board meeting, so we won't advertise that yet, obviously. And I did see your email about that, so stand by for that. It would be great to have her at the general board meeting, so it would be more of a Q&A, public thing.
Similar to
Yes,
outreach.
it's a forum, it's a town hall for people to come and learn about this issue, not just outside of the catchment of the municipal services committee that already knows that this is an issue,
Madam Chair, if I can add to that, so like a colleague did mention, we had a conversation with her office this morning. We want to make sure that her like we talked about in the last committee, her brass is going to, top brass, this is the recreation chief, and her capital director will be also in attendance, that we don't have, let me get back to you, answers. And so we're working with all these folks to make availability to be at the meeting, and it is a high priority from the commissioner to be accountable to this issue as it relates to the board, and she understands that our deep request to make sure that she's going to be available at the board meeting. So we should have heard her answer already. Today we thought we was going to hear her answer, but we'll have to speak to the staff. But yeah, as you know, I guess as what we asked for, making sure all these folks are available, we didn't hear back yet, so we hope the commissioner will respond first thing in the morning, if not, hope tonight that her team is ready to go.
Okay, sounds good. Well, the flyer's ready, it's on standby.
Ready to go. Ready.
And we can just change, if it winds up being the committee, I can just change that on the flyer. So that's on events. Really quickly, I think this is the last thing on the agenda. We already spoke about the CB1 Comp Share Drive. That's what we use to distribute and share all the content with each other. Currently, it's the chairperson's Google Drive that we're using. I don't know what her limitations are in gigabytes. But we should probably ask her before we face, I don't know, a barrier where it says that you can't upload anything else. I don't know if she has a terabyte. I will ask her. So I wanted to quickly just touch on the Mount Haven Herald story. I think it's a learning opportunity for us as a committee. Last month, as I shared earlier, a Mount Haven Herald reporter was here with us in this committee, and he wrote a story on this committee. So someone reached out through social media and informed us about the story being published, and I thought it was great, but then they shared, someone mentioned, or it was me, I mentioned that we should prioritize NYCHA and longtime residents to communicate to on behalf of this committee and this board. But the writer didn't provide context for that quote. The reason why I said that was because on the committee, something was raised to prioritize, or to send out information and communications to luxury development residents. So that was, my quote was in response to that, right? So thank goodness somebody reached out and I was able to clarify that to them. And the person in the community was like, thank you so much for this. It makes sense. Oh, now I understand why you would say that, So I just think that it's important to stay in touch with not just the community, but also with press to make sure that they're also held accountable and they know, like, provide a little more context for what we're saying here. Or because sometimes our words can be twisted or like used out of context. So I did also reach out to the writer, Leo, and he thanked me for reaching out, and he said, we'll correct that and make sure that we provide the context that's necessary so that people don't feel left out of the conversation. And we're doing quite the opposite of that. We want everybody to be involved in this, in the community board. So just wanted to put that out there, that was a learning opportunity. But also, just making sure that we stay on top of like how the press is interpreting what we say and the things that we do this. But if there's anything else before we go, open to hear. All right, so this meeting is adjourned. Oh, I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Any abstentions?
All right, thank you all. Bye, YouTube
I
Live.
never been so happy to say hi, bye.
It's adjourned.